We talked about several things in the first lecture on chapter 4. Visual aids, outlining, how you incorporate your research into your outline. Now I want to talk about kind of the rest of things in chapter 4, and we'll do that. We looked at the outline on page 71 and 72 as the core of the first lecture. The core of the second lecture will be the evaluation sheet that you see on page 76. There's also a draft evaluation sheet you see on page 75. So I'll be referring to both of those as a way to pick up some of the topics that we haven't discussed. I did also talk about we're increasing the level of expectation. So if you look at the evaluation sheets for level 3 and the one for level 4, you can see there are a lot more criteria to be evaluated on, a lot more ways to pick up points, but the point total is a lot bigger as well. The expectations of an above average speaker, a B or an A level speaker, are a lot higher. The level 4 and level 5 are not significantly different in the content of the evaluation sheet. They're a little different in the application. One is informative, one is persuasive. But also, to be an A speaker, a level 5 speaker, I want to see that you can do those again thoroughly in multiple contexts. So I can do the majority of these criteria in level 4 on an informative topic and in level 5 on a persuasive topic. So you need to pick up most of those to get to an A. And you also need to kind of be involved in some of the supplemental material. In level 4, one of the things you see on page 75, you've got the draft outline and the additional competencies. So you might want to look at that. The draft outline shows me that you can present your ideas in a rough format, and you can go through the process of revising and improving. So if I give you feedback, you make changes, you can submit the draft outline again. I will grade it as the draft outline up until the day you present. When you present, the outline you give me is going to be your performance outline, and I will evaluate that with the evaluation on page 76, which is a little different than 75. The one on 75 wants to prompt you to build in some things that will help not only your outline, but your presentation. So it's actually a bigger criteria sheet than the outline sheet for 76. But it includes some things that have moved to the performance criteria. One of the things that I did want to add is that supplemental points or skills that come into play in level 4, you are going to select a topic and edit that and focus it on the things you want to give us today or the day you speak. And that will be done with your central idea. Exactly what is it about the topic that's important to you? That should come out in your central idea. And then you develop your main points to show that. There will be other things that don't fit. I found this information about this topic, but it doesn't fit my main points, my central idea. I'm going to keep up with that in my head, but I'm not going to include it in my speech. So one of the criteria is that your main points are focused, and they should be focused along with your central idea. And you haven't eliminated things that are off topic. A lot of times I'll get a student who has 17 main points in their draft outline, and I'll say, some of these would be part of a separate speech. Let's focus on these 7, and we can group 3 of these under one idea and 3 of them under another idea. So now you have 3 points with 3 subpoints, and 1 point. And so we've reduced from 17 to 3 in that revision process, and I can help you with that. And that's one of the reasons I want to see this outline early, to give you some of that feedback, but also to see you go through that process of improving and revising. Another element that comes into your criteria that's new is, and neither of these really are strictly about time, but if you have a 25-minute speech, that's too long, and probably you haven't focused and edited well enough. Likewise, if you have a 2-minute speech, that's not long enough. Not because it's 2 minutes, but because you haven't had time to develop a good introduction to present clear main points with supporting points and evidence, and to develop a good conclusion. You just can't do that in 2 minutes. So it's not that 2 minutes is too short or 25 minutes is too long, but it's because the content of your speech is reflected in your time, and generally 5 to 10 minutes is where most of the speeches fall, to be developed well enough, but also to be focused. So those two are really not about time, they're more about the content of your speech, but you can use time as a gauge. If you're practicing and your speech is too short or too long, it's probably because something's missing or needs to be done to tweak that a little bit. Bibliography, we look at, one, you must have one, like you needed one in 3C, but also how broad or how detailed or how in depth are your sources. If I have 20 .com web pages, I've dug deeply into that kind of research. But if I want breadth, I need to get .orgs, .gov, .edu. I need to get off of my computer and go do an interview with someone, maybe read a newspaper, a magazine, a journal article, different kinds of research to give me different kinds of insight. That's breadth. And your evaluation or your bibliography will be evaluated on those components as well. And you see those in those evaluation sheets. So look at those evaluation sheets, make sure those things make sense. If they don't, ask your instructor, preferably in class or in a discussion board if it's an online class, so that other students can get the benefit of that as well.